Session, Honorable Chief Judge, Your Glanville presiding. Court come to order. Please. Yes, sir. We'll have to do it again because Christine's not here. All right. I just said that. We'll do it when she walk in. I'll rise for her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming.
Okay. You want to have to come back in, you just do it. You do it now. Okay. You know what? You know what? Don't believe it.
It's not that, it's my eyes, I need colors on the side of the new. That's just. I was looking at the state specific too.
I can help you find.
My future turning up, what a time to be alive. I just leveled up, I think.
Chief Judge, you're glad to represent. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. We're going to go ahead and take roll at this point in time. We're back on the record in the matter of the state of Georgia versus Khalif Adams et al. In 22 SC 183572. Mr. Stilwell, Mr. Boston, Mr. Shard, good morning, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Williams, Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, and Ms. Renard, good morning, councils. Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Weinstein, good morning. Mr. Huey and Mr. Matthews, Sr. and Jr., good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Nichols and Mr. Garner, good morning. Mr. Ryan and Misty Williams, good morning. All right, Ms. Love, Ms. Hilton, Mr. Atkins, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Brown, good morning. Good morning. Okay, so our name room, all our jurors present?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, if we could summon our jurors, please. And where's Mr. Stevens? All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, good morning. Good morning. All right, without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with the presentation of the state's case and our current witness. Ms. Love, you may continue, madam. Or I should say, Mr. Steele, you may continue.
Morning, Your Honor. Thank you so much. Sir, I'm going to show you what's already been admitted. It's State's Exhibit number 23UU. Your Honor, may I approach you?
You may, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens? You turn to, if you don't mind, over at number 155 in that document. Do you have the Zoom? Tell me if you need help finding it, okay?
And Your Honor, just for clarity, is that 23 uniform under you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's you.
Thank you.
Did you find that, sir?
Yeah.
Can you just do me a favor at the bottom of that page? What page number is that, just for the ladies and gentlemen who are following along?
55.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Mr. Williams number 20.
And that was what we're at 155.
May I approach?
You may, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens?
Yeah.
Would you do me a favor? Just make sure that that is an identical, you know what I mean, by just over that 155. Just make sure that they're the same.
Your Honor. Understood. I need to approach Mr.
Okay, come on up. Okay. Mr. Steele, based on our conversations with Ms. Love, are you going to withdraw that exhibit?
I am going to withdraw temporarily. I'm
Okay.
going to fix it, and yes,
That's fine, sir.
thank you.
Okay, all right. You may continue whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
Mr. Stevens, I'm going to come back to over Act 155. I just have to amend something. Now marked. Number 21. Just tell me if it's identical, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm moving for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 21.
One. Any objection to Defendant Williams, 21?
It is I don't object as it is from the indictment.
Okay, all right. Defendant Williams, 21 is admitted and may be published as you see fit.
May Mr. Kokomo assist, Your Honor? Mr. Williams, you see on your screen, it should be next to you or behind you. Is that depict what is, or is that the same as what's in Mr. Williams number 21? What's on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And this comes out of the indictment, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And you would charge in the same indictment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. With regards to over at Act 156, do you see it's the date of January 16, 2022 is alleged?
Yes.
And do you recognize the gentleman in that photograph?
Yes.
And who is that gentleman?
Jeffrey Williams.
Okay. And it states that an associate defendant, Jeffrey Williams, an associate of YSL, to appear in a video released on Mr. Williams, it says Williams, Instagram account, flashing a Bloods, quote unquote, gang sign, overt act, and furtherance of conspiracy. You see where that's written?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury whether you know, based upon your experience and your lifestyle, whether Mr. Williams is showing with his left hand a Bloods gang sign.
Tell him if I know or not.
Yeah,
Tell him if I know what he doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him what it is.
He had a record out at the time called Pushing P. So he making a P in reference to the song.
Okay, and are you familiar with the video of that song? Songs sometimes come along with videos. Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know whether, Mr. Williams, you already referenced the song? And what was the title of the song, if you know it?
Pushing P.
And do you know whether that song came out with a video?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to show you part of the video, just make sure that it's the same video you remember, okay?
Yes.
Your Honor, can I ask Mr. Kokomo to approach? It's a video, so it's not a still.
You may, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stevens, can Mr. Kokomo come to you? You recognize that?
Yes.
Okay. And when Mr. Kokomo comes back, Your Honor, I'd like to display to the jurors what Mr. Stevens has just identified, and it will be marked on a thumb drive as Mr. Williams number 22.
Your Honor, before that happens, I would like to serve whatever
You
it
didn't
was
see
that was shown.
Do you mind, Mr. Kokomo?
Okay.
Listen. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number,
22.
yes, sir.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor,
Yes.
there is commentary on number 22, if in fact that was the video that was just shown to the state.
Commissary hearsay, or what is it?
Yes, it would be testimony being presented through counsel for Mr. Williams. I can have him to show the court what. he
Yeah, let me
was
see
shown.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
It's being removed. It was just to show which exhibit we're talking about. It will be removed.
As long as the commentary is removed, we don't have any objection. We would ask that the whole video, the entire video, what he is about to show, be shown.
Do you have is there a redacted copy of that?
What he has on there is a redacted copy.
Oh, it is. Okay. All right.
We would ask that the whole video be shown.
Is it the whole thing? Yeah, we have the whole video, Your Honor. I'm just showing the pertinent part, but if the state wants to show the whole video, that's fine.
They're objecting based on rule of completeness, so
No problem.
we'll just play all of it after you
Instant.
oriented your portion. So, Mr. Kokomo, if you just play the first portion that council wants you to play, then you can play the entirety of it, okay? Is that a yes? Okay, all right.
Sorry. And last,
Yes, Mr. Stevens.
None. Nothing, nothing, Your Honor.
Are you all okay? You have enough clothing, or you want me to? I make a phone call. I know a guy. I know a guy.
It's cold. It's cold.
Okay, all right. Let me make a phone call. Okay. All right. It's a little cold in here. Just a little bit, okay? All right, thanks. All right, bye-bye. All right, done. Okay, all right.
You ready? Now, Mr. Kokomo's adjusting. Stephen, as well, Mr. Kokomo doing that. May I just ask you a couple of questions with the court's permission? Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may, sir.
I'm showing what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 8.
And Your Honor, that's that those exhibits not been published before they are tendered.
Number 9, okay, 10, and number 13. Can you just take a peek at them yourself? Tell me if you recognize them one at a time.
Yes, I recognize.
And you recognize all those numbers, 8, 9, 10, and 11? I think that's what I gave you.
No, you gave me 8, 9, 10, and 13.
Okay, thank you, sir. And do those photographs accurately depict a person that you know in that photograph?
Yes.
Your Honor, I will move for the admission of 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 once Mr.
I
Kokomo.
don't have 11.
It's 8,
What'd I
9,
say?
and 13 is what you've shown.
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10, and 13, yo.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Your Honor, the state objects.
Well, we'll start out with number 8. You have an objection to 8?
Yes, Your Honor, if I may hold.
Okay.
Your Honor, as it relates to defendant's exhibit number 8, I would ask to,
What's the basis for your objection?
no basis, no foundation. There was no question how to be recognized. I would like to show this to the court so that the court can fully understand.
All right, come on up. Mr. Steele, I'm going to sustain, consistent with what Ben's conversation, I'm going to sustain the objections. You can lay a little more foundation, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Ready? Your Honor, can we play what has been marked and admitted as Mr. Williams' number
22?
22?
Yes, sir. You may.
And we can play the whole thing, but I was focused on, we'll play the whole thing, Mr. Kokomo, with the court's permission. Artist named Sergio Kitchens or a performer named Gunna?
Yes,
Is that the same person? Is Sergio Kitchens perform
Yes.
under the name Gunna?
yes,
And did you see that gentleman, if you recognize that gentleman in this, Mr. Williams, number 22?
yes.
Okay. Kokomo, can you take us to and just remind us of the exact time you're showing? So the honorable court is aware and the parties and the jury.
About a peach, not a pill of Porsche. Peach, not a pill.
Mr. Stevens, you recognize the person that Mr. Kokomo stopped the number at 14954? Do you recognize who that is?
I know, yeah.
Who is it?
Jeff Williams.
Okay. And what Mr. Williams is doing with his hand, is that similar to what it's in the indictment count 1 overt act number 156 that we've shown you before?
Yes,
Okay. And that is a P, you said earlier, right?
yes.
And did you realize, or do you know, that the song Pushing P and the video were released shortly around January 16, 2022?
I didn't realize that, but
So objection, Your Honor, as to his knowledge and speculation.
I sustain the objection.
If I showed you something to refresh your memory, would that, do you know when it first came out? Are you familiar? When that video and song first came out and was released?
I know exactly when it came out, but just not the exact date though. I remember the timing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, can you describe the time?
Not as in no date, but dang.
Do you know whether it was around the date that's listed in the indictment that's in front of you? And if you don't know, just say, I don't know. It's fine. We'll do it.
I don't know.
It's fine. Okay. But that's certainly not a blood sign in the indictment. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, with regards to when Mr. Williams, when you knew him, when he was starting out to try to become an accomplished musical artist, accomplished means like a,
Objection as to compound.
I sustain the question.
when, let me ask you a different way. When you knew Mr. Williams, when he first started out trying to become a professional musical artist, okay? I want you to lock in on that time, okay? Is that okay? Did social media and followers have any, if you know, have any type of significance to Mr. Williams to get out his?
Objection as to speculation, and it would call for self-serving hearsay.
I sustain the objection. You
Not-
can rephrase Mr. Steele or lay a little more foundation.
I don't want you to say anything Mr. Williams said. Do you know whether Mr. Williams used social media to try to broadcast his music?
Objection again as to speculation.
Well, let's see if he knows, and then I'll rule on the objection, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
And
All right, I'm gonna rule the objection.
And with regards to social media, was it more than music? If you noticed, did Mr. Williams also put out videos of himself?
Yes.
And did he also communicate to people to try to get their attention and to have followers?
Objection as to the mindset.
I sustain the question.
Did Mr. Williams, don't tell me anything about mindset, did he put out also statements on social media to try to get fans?
Objection as to the
I
trust.
sustain the question.
Did he put out statements on social media?
Yes.
And did he do all that under the moniker or brand name Young Thug?
Yes.
And if you know, is Mr. Williams trying to portray a certain type of image on social media?
Objection as to mindset.
I sustain the question.
Do you know if Mr. Williams portrayed a certain image as to himself on social media?
Objection.
I sustain the question.
Did Mr. Williams put forth a gangster rap image on social media?
Yes.
And do you know whether Mr. Williams had a lot of followers when he did that. Followers on Instagram.
Objection calls for speculation.
I sustain the
If
question.
he knows. Do you ever see Mr. Williams' social media accounts?
Yes,
Okay. And do those social media accounts show how many people are following?
yes,
And did Mr. Williams, from this conduct, from this entertainment, did it have a lot of people following him?
Objection as to compound and
I sustain the question as to form.
Did he have a lot of followers?
yes,
And were the followers building over time?
yes,
And did you notice that it was increasing a large amount? Did you notice?
yes,
And did it eventually get to the point that Mr. Williams had millions of followers?
yes.
You know how many millions at any given time?
I know millions though.
Couldn't hear you.
I don't know the exact millions, but I know it's millions.
Now, was there a time that you were mad at Mr. Williams for the content of his songs?
Man, what the content of the songs.
The lyrics that he used.
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen why.
Um, because I knew that he was teasing me.
Tell them. Tell them what you mean by that.
He made a song and he referred to me as robbing women. At that time, the whole neighborhood was poking fun at me for being accused of robbing women because they knew that.
objection as to what the neighborhood.
I sustain the question.
They knew what I was known for, which was setting
I
drugs.
sustain that you can't answer the question.
All right, sustain.
Don't, Mr. Stevens, don't say what other people were thinking. Just say what you were thinking. Why were you mad at Mr. Williams?
For even putting that in the song, knowing that it was false.
And did Mr. Williams, were you also mad at him because you believed in other lyrics he was describing things that you did, but taking credit for it?
Yeah.
And why did that bother you?
Your Honor, I object as to generalization and that's
I sustain the question as to form, Mr. Steele. You can rephrase it.
Mr. Stevens, why did it bother you? Why were you mad at Mr. Williams for using lyrics about your life as if he did?
an objection as to what lyrics, to specificity.
I sustain as to form.
It could be any. Did you ever get mad at Mr. Williams because he was taking credit for things that you know you did in his lyrics?
I felt the way.
I apologize.
I felt a certain type of way. I had a feeling about it.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Tell the
I
ladies-
object as to non-responsive, we don't know.
I sustain it. Just rephrase or redirect him or refocus him, I should say, Mr. Steele.
Instead of saying you felt a certain type of way, can you be more specific with that, Mr. Stevens? Why you were mad at Mr. Williams?
Well, I said I felt a certain type of way. I really can't put, say probably jealousy. He felt, yeah, probably jealousy because I knew it was something I could have been rapping about and potentially making money of it.
Now, if you know, is it a competitive business to be, to try to get fans on social media and followers in rap songs? If you know.
No, I'm not in the business.
I couldn't hear you. You're not in the business? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
That's fine. All right. Do you remember Jeffrey wearing really tight pants before they were popular?
Yes,
And based upon Jeffrey's popularity growing and this fashion that he wore, did other people start wearing really tight pants?
Objection, compound speculation.
A sustained objection.
Did people follow Jeffrey's lead, if you know, to wear tight pants?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did people wear tight pants after
Objection,
Jeffrey?
general, overbroad, irrelevant.
I sustained the question.
Did you notice that after Jeffrey started wearing tight pants, other people in your neighborhood wore tight pants?
yes, it became a trend.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes, it became a trend.
Trend?
Yeah.
How about tight necklace around the neck? Did Jeffrey start that as well?
So our neighborhood, or like,
Anyway, did you notice that he started to wear tight necklaces?
I noticed his stuff started getting tight. Just
And did you notice that other people again followed that trend?
Objection, speculation.
I sustained the question.
He asked if he noticed.
Whether other people.
This is not
Whether other
speculation.
people, that's speculation.
Did you notice other people wearing tight necklaces after Jeffrey started them?
I noticed other people's things starting to get tight too.
And it would be fair to say that Jeffrey was being watched and he became a trendsetter, to use your word.
Objection, compound, and speculation.
I sustained the question.
Do you know whether people followed what Jeffrey was wearing, singing about?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did people start dressing like Jeffrey?
Objection, speculation.
That's.
You might want to just ask a question before that, so.
Do you know whether after Jeffrey started to wear certain fashion, other people started to dress like that? Do you know this?
I don't know exactly why they did it, but I started seeing similarities in what he was doing and what other people were doing.
Okay. And when you first met Jeffrey in approximately 2007, if that year is like you said before, what was he called? What was the typical name that you called him and people called him?
Little Jeff.
Okay. And do you know what his father's name is?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury.
Big Jeff.
Now, we talked about Jeffrey wearing tight jeans. Do you know, don't speculate, do you know whether Jeffrey got any criticism? That means, did people go against him for wearing tight jeans, if you know?
Yes.
And tell us about that. What did people do? If you're aware.
I'm aware that they was accusing him of being gay.
A homosexual?
Yes.
And did that help, if you know, Jeffrey's popularity?
Objection, speculation.
If he
I
knows.
sustained the question. Well, let me let's see if he can answer the predicate. So you can ask him that again.
You can answer.
Oh, my bad. You can say it again. All the objections still on.
No, it's my fault. It is not your fault. You ready? There's nothing to do. You ready? The question is, if you know, did being called gay affect Jeffrey's popularity on social media?
Your Honor, I object to that because.
That's a different question. I'm gonna sustain that, though.
Did being called gay affect Jeffrey's popularity at all?
Objection, Your Honor, as to,
I sustain it.
If you know.
Your Honor, he can't fix it with advocating.
Yeah, I'm gonna sustain the question.
Okay. Now, did you know that Jeffrey, besides music, branched out into fashion as a business?
Yes.
And do you know Spider? You know the Spider brand?
Yes.
What is Spider brand?
A brand, a clothing brand.
And whose clothing brand is that?
Jeff Williams.
I'm going to show you what has been previously marked and shown to you. Mr. Williams, number 9, and then we're going to number 10. You already took a peek at that. Remember looking at that, Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
On Mr. Williams, number 9, do you recognize who's in that picture?
Yes.
And do you recognize the clothing shown in that picture?
Yes.
And do you recognize the color of that clothing?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately depict the clothing and the person who's wearing it in that picture, number 9, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I'll move for the admission of number 9.
Any further objection to defendant's 9?
No, Your Honor, not tonight.
Defendant's 9 is admitted and may be published as you see fit, sir.
It should be on the screen, but it's right in front of you, Mr. Stevens. Who is that gentleman in Mr. Williams, number 9?
Jeffrey Williams.
And is he wearing what I'd call a hooded sweatshirt?
Yes.
And can you see the type or brand on that sweatshirt?
Yes.
What brand or type is that?
Spider brand.
And who owns Spider brand, to your knowledge?
Jeff Williams.
Okay. And what color is that hooded Spider brand sweatshirt?
Blue with white words. And
Then do you notice a jacket on top of the hooded sweatshirt?
yes.
And what color is that jacket?
Blue.
Do you notice pants being worn by Mr. Williams in number 9?
Yes.
And what brand is that?
Spider clothing brand.
Same owner of that brand?
Yes.
And what color?
Blue with white words.
And then the shoes. You see shoes?
Yes.
And do you know what type of shoes they are? And if you don't, that's fine. Yes and no.
No, I don't.
Okay. And the laces appear to be what color on the right foot?
Red.
And how about the left foot?
Blue.
I'd like you to look at Mr. Williams' number 10 that should be in front of you. I think I gave that to you. It might be underneath number 9.
Oh, no, that's the tongue.
One more
The
time.
lace is blue on both of them. It look like that's the tongue.
Okay. It's the tongue is red.
Oh, yeah, I answer to the best of my ability.
That's fine. That's fine. Do you see Mr. Williams' number 10? It may be under number 9.
Yes.
Never seen that before?
Yes.
And there are two gentlemen in that picture, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recognize both of those gentlemen?
Yes.
And is that picture depicted in number 10 of Mr. Williams fair and accurate depiction of both of those people?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of number 10.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am. You have any further objection to defendant's 10?
I'd ask to be allowed to voir dire as to 10 before the admission.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Stevens.
Morning.
Were you present when that picture was taken, defense exhibit number 10?
No.
Do you recognize the area that that picture was taken in?
No.
Can you say with certainty whether that picture accurately describes or accurately reflects whatever was present in that area at the time that the picture was taken?
Can I say that? What? No.
Your Honor, state objects to number 10.
Foundation?
He has no basis.
Foundation?
Yes.
All right. Still anything else?
That would go to weight, Your Honor, not the admissibility.
I'm going to sustain the state's objection at this time.
Okay. All right. Did I give you number 11, if you could look at that? And it might be 13.
I only have 9 and 10.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may, sir.
Okay.
Let me show you this. You recognize what I've shown you before as Mr. Williams' number 13.
Yes.
And do you recognize any of the people shown in Mr. Williams 13?
Yes.
Do you recognize both those people?
Yes.
And does the photograph accurately show the way those two people look?
Yes.
And were you present when that image was taken?
No.
Have you seen that image before?
Yes.
Okay. And is that what now is Mr. Williams 13 accurate the way you've seen it before?
Yes.
And where have you seen it before?
Social media.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 13.
Any objection to defendant's 13? Defendant Williams 13, I should say.
I'd ask to voir dire the witness.
All right. Can I see 13, please? You got 13 in front of you, young man? Okay, here you go. All right, go ahead, Ms. Law.
Mr. Stevens, as to defendants 13, Mr. Steele asked you where or whether you've seen that photograph before, and you said on social media.
Yes.
Did you place that photo on social media?
No.
Do you know anything about the time that that photograph was taken?
No.
Do you know anything about the surroundings in that photograph?
No.
Do you know anything about whether that photograph accurately reflects what was in the camera range at the time the photograph was taken? In other words, do you know whether or not that photograph accurately reflects the surroundings that those people are in at the time the photograph was taken?
No.
Is the only basis for your saying you recognize that photograph that you've seen it on social media?
Yes.
And is your knowledge of the photographs that you saw on social media any greater than your knowledge of the photograph as it sits before you today?
I seen it on social media.
Your Honor, based on that, as through this witness, I would object to that photograph.
I'll overrule the objection, madam.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna admit it. E13 may be published as you see fit.
On the screen is Mr. Williams' number 13. Can you make that bigger without making it unreadable? Mr. Kokomo? Mr. Stevens, can you see the screen and and it's in front of you as well? And describe to the jurors and tell them by what people are wearing, who is seen in that photograph, please.
Jeffrey Williams got on a blue shirt, blue pants, and this Nut, he got on a white shirt with
Okay.
plaid shorts.
And you use the name Nut. N-U-T, does that sound right?
Yes,
And do you, by any chance, if you don't, that's fine, know what Nut's government given name is?
yes.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen jury?
Donovan Thomas.
And by looking at, if you know, Mr. Williams' number 13, who posted this photograph of Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas, Donovan Thomas, on social media?
Do I know who posted it?
Yeah. Do you know whose Instagram account it was?
Yes, Nut.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury who Instagram account posted it.
Nut.
And for some people who may not know, can you explain what it means by posting on your social media account? Just what does that mean?
Uploading the image from your phone to the internet.
Okay. And at the top, you see where it says big business underscore ENT underscore nut.
Yes,
Do you recognize that as somebody's social media handle?
yes.
Whose social media handle is that?
Nut.
And then, Mr. Kokomo, if you don't mind just scrolling to the bottom. If you know, you see where it says in the first line, 444 likes, you see that?
Yes.
If you don't know, just say, I'm not sure. What does it mean with the number 444 and the word likes next to it on social media?
That 444 people liked the picture.
And then underneath that, again, it says big business underscore ENT underscore nut. And then it's written, me and little bro. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And then it has an ampersand, thugger 1. Booling at Big Homie. At Birdman with a 5-star condo. Pound 25 million, sky the limit. You see all that?
Yes.
And I'm in the race, blood love. See all that?
Yes.
And whose social media account wrote that? I know you don't know who wrote it, but whose social media account is that attributable to?
Nut.
Okay. And what date was that posted?
May 26, 2014.
Were you aware whether Mr. Thomas and Mr. Jeffrey Williams were friends?
Your Honor, I'd ask for clarity, vague
I stand the question. You can rephrase it, sir.
time frame.
To your knowledge, was Mr. Thomas, Donovan Thomas, and Mr. Williams friends?
Time frame, Your Honor, vague.
I stand the question. Just rephrase it.
Before the death of, well, Where were you, if you remember, I know dates are not good. Do you remember where you were the end of 2014, beginning of 2000, let's say January 2015, if you know?
In 2014.
If you don't know, it's fine.
Yeah. Jail.
You were in custody?
Yes.
In jail?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that for the end of 2014 going to beginning of 2015?
Yes.
But you're clearly out in some point of early 2015 because you told the jury about being sent home from the rodeo tour. You remember that?
Yes.
And you were clearly out on your birthday in 2015, April 26th.
Yes.
Is that true? Okay. All right. At the time that you were in custody, put in custody, in 2014, do you remember when that was? And if you don't, that's fine.
At the time when I was in custody?
Yeah, were you in custody the end of 2014 going into beginning of 2015? If you know, and if you don't know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you remember approximately when you were arrested and put in custody in 2014?
Yes.
Approximately when was it?
I think that's the date we've been just going over. October 14, October 2014. I don't know the exact date.
That's fine. And that's what's shown days ago
Yeah.
with that allegation.
Right.
When you were arrested.
That's how I remember. Yeah.
Okay. So let's use that as a date. At that time, October 2014, do you know whether Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas were friends?
Objection, Your Honor, as to vagueness, same objection.
Let's see if he knows. I'll consider the objection based on his next response.
If you know,
Yes.
were they friends?
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
hold the objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this May 26, 2014, who is referring to who? So you tell us the speakers as Little Bra. Who is Little Bra as you read that on social media?
Jeffrey.
Okay, and who is calling Jeffrey Little Bra?
Nut.
All right. I want to talk with you. Thank you, sir. I want to talk with you about April 26, 2015, your birthday, okay? Prosecutor was asking you these questions on that day, and you remember going into the compound to see an entertainer that you really liked. Remember you talked about paying $500, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay, that's the day I'm talking about. Are you aware at some point that the tour bus of Lil Wayne was supposedly shot?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what information you have at all that Jeffrey Williams was in any way involved with the shooting of that tour bus.
Any at all?
Your Honor,
You have an objection, madam?
I do not.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. Can you answer the question, sir?
I don't have any information at all.
Okay. Now, you've been to concerts, musical concerts, fair to say?
Yes.
Have you ever been to a sporting event, Hawks game, something like that?
I've been to a sporting event. Yes.
And at the sporting event that you went to, were they selling, you call it merchandise? Were people selling merchandise, if you remember?
I know that they sell merchandise there.
Okay. When you were shown earlier a red hat and it said Bompton, Bompton, you remember seeing that video or the photograph rather?
Yes.
Was that being sold at a show?
Yes,
And do people make money off of that?
yes,
And do you know whether any YSL merchandise or merch is sold at shows?
yes, yeah.
Okay. And do you know whether people can buy YSL merchandise over the internet?
Yes,
And do you know whether people can buy Spider merchandise over the internet?
yes,
And is all this a business?
yes,
Do you know, if you know, does Jeffrey Williams have a record label, YSL?
yes,
And does he promote his records, albums, musics, mixtapes, whatever it is, through YSL?
yes,
If you know, and if you don't know, just say, I don't know. Has that record label also been bought by a publicly traded company?
Objection, basis.
If he knows.
I'll overrule the objection, madam.
I don't know somebody about it.
You don't know, you
No.
think? That's fine. Okay. Are you aware that Jeffrey also performs with people, with other people in music?
Yes,
And do you know some of the artists that Jeffrey has performed with? And if yes, tell the jury.
yes.
Objection as to relevance.
Mr. Steele?
Goes to what Jeffrey Williams does, Your Honor, for his living, not a member of
I
a.
sustain the, I should say, I'm gonna overrule the objection. He can testify to that if he knows.
Post Malone.
Okay. And what type of music is Post Malone known for?
Rock and roll, different. I don't know what kind of artist it is. I said that because that one I like,
That's fine.
ones I like.
Do you know whether Mr. Williams has ever done work with, an artist named Rihanna?
Yes,
Okay. Elton John?
yes,
Has Mr. Williams, to your knowledge, does he have a song out with Elton John?
yes,
Is it a popular song? If you know,
yes,
you know the name of that song.
yes.
What is it?
Hi,
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has done work with an artist, if you know the artist, Ed Sheeran?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the line of questioning regarding how many or who all Mr. Williams has done work with. If it was to establish that he is a rapper, no one disputes that.
I'm gonna overrule the objection.
well, my bad.
That's okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has done music with an artist, a musical artist named Ed Sheeran?
Yes,
How about, do you know an artist named Drake?
yes,
Do you know if Mr. Williams has done music with Drake?
yes,
How about, except not just rap music, do you know whether Mr. Williams also does popular music?
yes,
How about African beats?
yeah, country.
Okay, country. And did Mr. Williams, to your knowledge, have a gigantic country hit?
Yes,
How about Latin music?
I know it's several different genres.
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has performed in almost every continent in the world?
Yeah,
Do you know whether he's performed in front of over 300,000 people as the headliner?
Objection, Your
I
Honor.
sustain the question.
When Jeffrey Williams, you were asked a series of questions. On direct examination, that means when the prosecutor was asking you questions about whether the conduct of YSL and its associates and members enhanced the notoriety, the respect, the reputation. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how crime on Cleveland Avenue committed by YSL, you or its members, helped Jeffrey Williams, when you answer those questions, get respect, reputation, image, notoriety, street credibility. Tell them.
Objection as to relevance and objection as to the court will
I
get the law.
sustain the question.
Your Honor, this goes directly to questions asked on direct examination.
Doesn't make them still objectionable though. So I'm gonna sustain the objection at this point in time.
Tell the jury, from being a member of YSL, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Tell the jury how Jeffrey Williams benefits from YSL, the criminal street gang.
He ain't got no benefit.
I
I don't feel like he benefit. He don't benefit.
Okay. Now, earlier you went through in the indictment with me, you were kind enough, when it was, y'all just start bringing me the money, remember 24 M's on an N? Remember that? And I know what you testified to, the jurors will remember. But why, explain to jurors, why would Jeffrey Williams need money from you or anybody else living on Cleveland Avenue? I'm not trying to insult anybody. Just answer that question if you don't mind.
Objection as to speculation.
I sustain the question.
Do you ever give Jeffrey Williams any money?
No.
Money is a hard commodity to get for you, isn't it?
Yes.
And for many people on Cleveland Avenue, is that fair to say?
Objection,
I
speculation.
sustain the question.
Wait, my turn? Oh,
That's
my bad.
There's no question out.
Oh, my bad.
Goes to you, sir.
Now, when you talked about being upset with Quentin Porter, Blue, remember? And you wanted to separate from Rock Crew, do you remember that?
Yeah.
You want to separate from him, Mr. Quentin Porter, right?
Yeah.
And Jeffrey took on the YSL as his record label to sing about. Is that true?
Yeah.
As Jeffrey's popularity grew, did a lot of people in the neighborhood start singing and saying we're YSL?
Yes.
Was there any rule to get into YSL?
No.
Could Jeffrey, to your knowledge, stop somebody from saying, I'm YSL?
No.
Could Jeffrey stop someone from putting a tattoo on their face, their arm, their...
Objection as to speculation and compound.
I sustain the question.
Do you know whether Jeffrey could stop someone from putting a tattoo on their body?
Objection as to
Still-
speculation.
Still speculation, Mr. Steele. I sustain the objection.
Could he stop you from putting a tattoo on your body?
No.
And you said earlier that people were copying, this is my word, Jeffrey, I think your word was, he was trending or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he was clearly now singing about YSL, right?
Yeah.
He was clearly wearing certain clothing a certain way, right?
Yes.
And he was clearly being followed by others, true?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to speculation.
I sustain the last question of speculation.
do you know from social media, people outside of Cleveland Avenue starting to dress like Jeffrey? If you know from social media.
Objection as to why they would be dressing. Speculation.
Let's see if he knows, he has any basis. Can you answer that question?
Can you say it again?
Yeah.
My bad. When y'all do that, I lose my train of thought. My bad.
That is not your bad. That is me. Mr. Stevens, on social media, did you recognize people dressing like Jeffrey as his popularity grew?
Yes.
And that's outside of Cleveland Avenue, right?
Yes.
And do you know from social media, people outside of Cleveland Avenue, outside of our country, tattooing YSL on their bodies?
Yes.
And putting Jeffrey's face tattooed on their calves,
Yes.
on their stomachs?
Yes. I met a girl, she had it on her arm.
I couldn't hear you.
I said I met a girl, she had it on her arm.
She had Jeffrey's image of his face on her arm,
Yeah.
and also have Jeffrey's lyrics on their bodies.
I don't think I seen no lyric, but it's possible though.
No, that's fine. And also have YSL tattooed on their bodies from the internet.
Yes.
Jeffrey became wildly popular, right?
Yes.
And from your area that you grew up in and that he was there a short period of time,
Yeah.
who else from that area is that popular?
Nobody.
Would you describe the fact that Jeffrey's efforts and talent,
Excuse me.
that's all right, created a brand? Do you know what I mean by brand? Something marketable that people liked.
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the objection.
But did you like it? I know you're jealous, you said of Jeffrey at times, but were you proud of him?
Yes.
He did something. Were you shocked at what he did? From where he came from?
Objection,
Amazed.
compound.
I sustain the question as form. Rephrase, Mr. Steele.
Okay. How would you describe, in your own words, how you feel about the fact where Jeffrey, you know where he came from to where he grew? Did you ever think that was possible?
I feel like anything possible, but yeah, it was amazing to me.
To your knowledge, do you know whether people say that they know Jeffrey who really don't know him?
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the question.
Have you ever been in a situation where you knew that someone did not know Jeffrey, but they claimed to be able to contact him?
Objection, foundation, and
I sustain the
speculation.
question.
Now, Jeffrey, you said, gave opportunities to you and others. Fair to say?
Yes.
And although he wouldn't give anyone money, would Jeffrey be free to open his house to others?
Yes.
And if they needed a place to stay, could they come to his home?
Yeah, if you knew you, yeah.
If he knew you.
Yeah.
And how about vehicles? If somebody needed a vehicle, to your knowledge, would Jeffrey let people drive cars that he had?
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, if you know about how people can get cars if they know Jeffrey in his home.
Can I speak from my experience?
Yes.
The drawer in his house with all the keys and you just, I don't even ask. I just grab them.
And what type of cars are we talking about? I know they change over time. Just give me an example. type of cars we're talking
Can I
about.
speak from my experience?
Sure.
I've driven Rolls Royce truck, Bentley truck, Jeep truck. Yeah, I've driven a lot of them.
And from your experience and knowledge, would Jeffrey rent cars for other people if they needed a car
Yeah,
in his own name?
yeah,
And did other people, including yourself, at times, were you able to rent a car? Did you have a credit card?
no,
But Jeffrey would do that for you and others?
yes.
And would he ask any questions about where you were taking the Bentley Jeep, or was it just, here you go?
Sometimes I didn't even know I was gone.
Same with rental cars?
Yeah,
Now, to get to the rodeo tour, I know you were sent home. Is it fair to say you were sent home by plane?
yes,
To get out to the rodeo tour, were you taking a tour bus? When I say you, did Jeffries have a tour bus? And if you don't remember, say I don't.
no, I don't remember how I got there. No, I ain't take tour bus.
How about from city to city?
Yeah, that was super, yeah.
And if you were aware, was Jeffrey sleeping on the walkway of the tour bus to let other people sleep in the beds?
Yeah, everybody just fall asleep anyway, wherever you
Couldn't
can.
hear you, I apologize.
You just fall asleep wherever you got space to fall asleep.
And did Jeffrey make it known that he wanted to show people there is life outside of Cleveland Avenue?
Objection, Your Honor.
I sustain the question.
Was this the first time that you really ever, except for jails and custody, I'm excluding that. Was this really the first time, because of Jeffrey Williams, that you and others ever left the area that you grew up in and born?
Objection as to others.
I sustain the question.
If he knows,
As to form.
just
Yeah.
talk about yourself.
I would never, nah, I ain't leave out of 285 for real.
And how about private planes, airplanes? Do you know whether Jeffrey would take private planes to travel?
Yes,
And would he allow other people to see what it's like to fly?
yes,
And these are all new experiences.
yes.
And would you ever experience the fact that there's life outside of Cleveland Avenue?
Objection.
It's kind of vague. I'll sustain the question as to form, Mr. Steele. Before you pose the next question, ladies and gentlemen, how about a comfort break? All right, Mr. Steele, we're gonna, and ladies and gentlemen, jury, we're gonna take 10 minutes and then we'll come back and I'll kind of give you the plan for the afternoon, okay? All right, 10 minutes, remember my admonitions to you. Mr. Stevens, you can take your 10-minute break, please. All rise for our jury, please.